I'm not going to do it in any particular order, I was just going to run through the list that you've got in front of you. The first Hatton fighter I want to talk about is Gary Buckland. Gary doesn't really need an introduction. He was campaigning at lightweight, but realised that wasn't his natural weight. He went down to super featherweight. He took the risk in doing that, and I think in his first sort of showcase, he won the prize fight, and I think again promoted by Matchroom, but I think it must have been probably one of their most widely anticipated shows. And I think it's fair to say that Gary went into that, and of all the people who it's talked about as potential winners, including the British champion, who Gary knocked out in spectacular fashion. So when Gary first came to us, he promised us that he would deliver the titles. That's what he wanted from us. He promised us that he's going to become a European and then move on from there, and that's where we see him going. Another fighter who needs no introduction, Rendell Munro. He's only recently come to us. This is a fighter who's fought for world title, and he doesn't see himself coming back fighting 8-rounders. He sees himself coming back and he wants to get to the top. He wants to fight for world titles, and that's where we're going to get him. We've got a bit of a competition going on to see who can become the first Hatton Promotions world champion. I think Rendell is very much throwing his hat in the ring again, if you excuse the pun. At completely the opposite end of the spectrum to people like Rendell and Gary is a young fighter called Alan Little. He's only recently signed for us. He made his debut last month, and again he won in spectacular fashion, and that's Adam. So again, we're expecting big things of him, but he realises he's at very much the start of his journey. Tassif Khan and Kid Galahad are two young, exciting fighters from Sheffield. It's a great platform, and again, I'd like to thank Khan Promotions for giving my fighters the chance to promote themselves on a big stage, so that the big things are expected of them tonight. Craig Watson's got a tough fight. He's fighting Lee Purdy. Those of you who've been to Hatton Promotion shows won't need any introduction to Lee Purdy. He had a fantastic fight with Denton Cell 12 months ago, which was clearly one of the fights of the year. Craig, he's one of our favourite fighters. He's a throwback to the old school in that he'll fight anybody. There's no better testament to that when we found ourselves in a pickle last year when a fight had fallen through for the Commonwealth at light middleweight. Craig wasn't even properly in training. He took the fight at 2 days' notice, and again won in spectacular fashion, knocking his opponent out in the first round. A lot of people criticise Hatton Promotions, and they think that the welterweights we've got are very much behind the queue, behind Matthew Hatton, obviously with the name association. But I can assure everybody here today that that's not the case. And Craig's somebody who we've got very high hopes for. I personally would put him in with any welterweight in the world, and that's the level he's at. I'm hoping that the opportunity to fight on shows like this will showcase his talents around the world, and it's only a matter of time before he gets the opportunities and will become a world champion for us. Desi Higginson's a young man from Blackburn, always comes with a fantastic following, even in a big arena like the MEF, his Blackburn fans will be well heard, and he's another one of our great young fighters. Richard Towers, those of you who've seen him, he can speak for himself, he's twice as big as everybody else. He's in a division where we're looking for stars, and I think some of his contemporaries in the British scene have been sort of elevated very quickly because they're heavyweights. But I'd put him in with any of them tomorrow. He'd fight Tyson Fury tomorrow, that's not a problem. He's someone who's going to burst onto the scene, and this is, again, big nights like this are what he needs, and he will come through. Finally, and certainly not least, is Martin Murray, Commonwealth champion, fighting an exciting division. I think I can say no more really than we were very keen for Martin to fight Matthew Macklin, who should have been on this bill. The reason that fight didn't take place probably tells you how good Martin Murray is. Again, he's someone who I would put him in with anybody in Britain and anybody in Europe. It's only a matter of time before he comes through and becomes one of our champions. So to finish off, I would like to express my thanks again to Khan Promotions for giving Hatton Promotion, for having the confidence in Hatton Promotion to deliver this show. I think Richard Poxon, the matchmaker, has done a fantastic job in putting this show together at times, and what has been difficult for reasons not Richard's fault, people letting us down, letting Khan Promotions down, but ultimately letting themselves down. And I'd like to thank Khan Promotions for giving these fighters the platform to display their talents. And finally, I'd like to thank Amir Khan for coming back to fight in Manchester, to give give something back to his fans. Following his spectacular performance in December, where he became a household name in America, the easy option and the easy route for Amir would have been to have stayed in America, where he could have earned his money in America. He could have let people who wanted to watch him in England do it at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, but he chose to come back to Manchester. So lastly, I'd like to thank Amir for putting something back into this sport, and hopefully, seizing the mantle which someone has needed to do since people like Ricky Hatton and Joe House haven't fought for 2 years. So thank you very much.